be so bored of me being like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel, but I really don't know what else to start this video with apart from hi, hello, hey there, welcome back. Okay, so as you know from the title, I am going to be doing a makeup look using Primark makeup. I was in Cardiff and I went over to the makeup section and they had such a good variety, and I was going through and I found all these different collections and different eyeshadows, and I was like, wow, I could really do a video on this. And then I decided not to buy anything and I went to my Primark back home and it was shit. They had barely anything. So my idea hasn't gone exactly to plan, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video with whatever I've got. So I have a box of Primark makeup here, as well as a little eyeshadow palette. So we are going to be creating a look with these beauties here. Now I don't really have a plan on what I'm going to look like or what I'm going to do, but just going to roll with it and just see what it looks like at the end. So I've just added everything up, and the whole makeup that I've got here has totaled at £18.50. So I've got 2 foundations, a bronzer, a blush, a concealer, a lipstick / gloss and a eyeshadow palette. So that's for £18.50, which I think is pretty amazing. I'd like to say that the whole makeup look is going to be using only Primark. However, unfortunately in my Primark it was so shit that I've had to use some of my normal makeup, but the eyes are going to be completely from this palette here. And then my foundation, bronzer, and I'll explain it as I go on. So let's get started. Okay, so I was browsing through the Primark foundation side, and there was a few different types. They don't really specify what they are, but I was trying them on the back of my hand and these look the most full coverage. Now I couldn't find my colour at all. They do have quite a good colour range, but they're either really super orange and dark or extremely pale and quite pink. Now I'm in the middle, I'm quite olive, so to be able to get my colour I have mixed 2 foundations and hopefully we're going to be able to match me. So I picked up this one. It's my perfect colour and it's a perfect finish foundation, medium coverage, semi-matte finish, and it's infused with vitamin E. I'm sure if it's medium coverage I can build it, so I have picked up 2 colours, so I'm going to be mixing them like I said. I have latte, and then I also have it in nude, which is actually quite yellow. It wasn't pink, so it's actually a yellow foundation in the lighter section. And these retailed at £2.50 each, so that's really not bad for a foundation. So first I'm going to take that darker colour on the back of my hand. Then I'm going to take a drop of that lighter shade onto the back of my hand as well. I've gone half-half to see what I can do, and then I can obviously build and go darker or go lighter. It's really scented. It's nice, it smells a lot like babies, if I'm honest, you know, like baby stuff. But I'm quite sensitive skin, so anything perfumed doesn't really sit well with me and my skin. So already I'm a bit like, oh god. Okay, so I've swatched on the back of my hand and it's a little bit pink. I'm not sure if it's picking it up on here. There is a pink undertone to it, but hopefully I can make it work. Okay, it looks like it's going to be super full coverage, to be honest, because it's really thick. It's quite like a thick moisturiser. I like perfume things and I like things to smell nice, but I'm really not comfortable with the smell of this foundation. Okay, so as per usual, you know how I do. We're going to be going in with that Real Techniques sponge, and I'm just going to be pushing that product into my skin. Yeah, I can confirm that this the scent to this is really not doing anything for me at all, and I'm finding that around my eyes it's burning a little bit because of the scent. I am very sensitive skinned, so yeah, so far I'm really not loving that. Okay, so I've done half of my face. There is coverage, definitely coverage. Again, I would say I'd like to build it because it's not as thick as I would like it. We'll do the other half of my face and then I'll see how I feel. So I have a lot of scarring on this side of my face, and it has covered it, to be honest. I can still see it just a little bit, so I might just apply a little bit of foundation around those areas. This is making me super pale, isn't it? Might have to go in and add like a layer of the darker foundation on top. Okay, so the foundation is on. As you can see, it is too light for me. I probably applied mix too much of the lighter foundation into the mixture. You can see it's definitely not matte. I am shining everywhere, which I hate. I love a matte foundation, so if I was to wear this without powder, it's a definite no. I feel greasy. It just feels like a really thick moisturiser, like a tinted moisturiser, but the coverage is actually decent. Like, I'm looking at my skin and it looks really good. For £2.50, you really can't complain with that coverage. Okay, so in Primark, I actually didn't pick up a concealer stick. I did for contour, but I didn't for under my eyes, which doesn't register with me, but what I was doing, I don't know. I think I was just really sweaty and hot, because you know how Primark is, it's just manic, and I was just like, get me out of here ASAP. So I am going to be going in with my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC20. Be putting that under my eyes and concealing those dark circles. And I did have fun in Primark, even though I said I wanted to get out ASAP. Like, it was really interesting, particularly the Primark in Cardiff. It was so good. Their makeup collection was like massive. They had so much choice. Even they had like single eyeshadows, and girls, like, if you see them, go swatch them. Like, I think you have to scratch off the top layer, but once you've done that, the pigmentation is actually so good and so creamy, and the foiled eyeshadows are amazing. I can't remember how much they were. They're either £1 or £2, but for an eyeshadow pan. Okay, so I'm even holding my beauty sponge, and I can actually feel how much product the sponge has absorbed, because I was thinking to myself, I put a lot on my face but not that much. I was like, where is it going? And it's all in my sponge. It's really absorbed it, and my sponge is quite sticky, so I am going to try and get it off with a wet wipe and just squeeze it out. Wow, yeah, look, if I show you, that was just 3 squeezes and all of that has come out of the sponge. Like, look at it. That's so much foundation. Look, like, it's absolutely covered. Ugh. But my next step is going to be bronzing up my face. Now, I decided to go into the concealer section, and I thought about doing a cream contour using their cream concealers. Now, this cost me 90p, that's all it was, is 90p. And at first I was like, is this going to be a really dry product? You know, the ones that you can't blend very well. But I put it onto my hand, and it literally buffed out and blended so nicely into my skin. So I'm hoping that on top of the foundation it's going to do the same thing. And I got this in caramel. So I'm just going to pop that on all the places I usually would when I contour. So I have applied quite a lot, more than I normally would, just because I'm really wanting to try and bronze up my skin. So we're going to go back in with another damp beauty sponge. This is just another one that I've had to pull out my kit because the other one is completely ruined, and we're just going to try buffing that into the skin. Okay, it doesn't blend. It's quite a stubborn product, so it doesn't blend as well. I'm actually applying quite a lot of pressure with the sponge, but once blended it does look quite nice. I'm going to go in with my Laura Mercier powder and try and set that as quickly as possible before I get any more creasing, because it's even setting in my smile lines. Normally that happens after like a good 8 or 9 hours of wearing a foundation. I've had this on for what, 15 minutes, and it's setting everywhere. I'm really going to pile this on to see if I can try and bake as such, to try and absorb some of the product, because it is a hot mess under my eyes. I'm going to go across my eyelids. I'm going crazy with the powder. I'm telling you, it is awful. Like, it is like really creasing. I'm just going to leave it bake before I go swiping any of it off. Now I've applied the powder, and I can actually feel my skin starting to get like really tight. Especially around here. I know I've applied a lot of powder, but normally that doesn't happen. Even when I bake for a night out, it's never really that. It feels like cement right now. It feels like, you know, when you've got a face mask on, it starts to flake. So whilst that's setting, I'm just going to go in with my typical normal face powder, which is the MAC Skin Mineralize Finish in Medium Deep, and I'm just going to like warm up the outsides of my face with that. Okay, so I've set my face with my powder. I do feel a lot better. However, I know within like a couple of hours this is definitely going to be oily. I can just feel it. I've applied quite a generous layer of powder, and I'm still a little bit tacky, and my under eyes are awful. So can you see here that it's like completely set under my eyes, and it's really like pulled out my wrinkles really, really badly. Like, that's not cute. That's not cute. Anyway, we're going to carry on and persevere with the YouTube tutorial. So next I'm going to go in with the steps I normally would do, and that would be to bronze my face and slightly contour. Now I was looking through the contours and everything was really warm. There was nothing there that was neutral. So I've decided to skip the contour part, and I was going to go with a bronzer. And I picked up the mattifying powder, and I think they go hand in hand with this collection here. And it's the My Perfect colour. I picked up in Caramel, which is the same colour as the contour, and it's also a medium coverage, and it's a smooth application. It's a pressed powder. It looks like this. It did come with a little sponge, but I got rid of that ASAP just because I think they're really, really gross. It's really, really warm. It's really silky smooth. I think I'm going to have to be very, very light-handed with this because it is extremely pigmented and very, very warm. I don't know if you can see that on my hand. So I'm going to pick that up on my Real Techniques like domed brush, and I'm just going to like contour the outsides of my face. Yeah, it's extremely pigmented. This hasn't got a scent either. It's kind of like your typical powdery scent. It's not anything that's like repulsive, but that foundation was just gross. So far I'm not offended by it. I think the only issue this bronzer is that it is really, really orange. Like, you could see where I visibly applied it, and honestly I'm going in with such a light hand. Like, I'd be sold if this had a bit more of a neutral tone to it, but because it is really, really, really quite orange. Like, I love being orange. Like, all the way through university I was orange, all the way through into my like 20s I'm orange. I am just orange all the time, but I feel like this is like another level. It's all like OTT because I have gone in very, very lightly. It's just not anything that I think I'm ever going to put on my face again. It could be really good as like a transition colour, but for a contour, again, it's a firm no from me. Just to let you know, this was actually £2. Like, the powder itself is really, really creamy and it's pigmented and I love it. So it might be good for those girls who don't like to wear foundation and like to just wear a foundation powder. Like your fairer girls, the powder selection was actually really, really nice. I was looking at one for my under eye, set in my under eye. But for me, in terms of a bronzer, it's going to be a no, just because I feel like it's a little bit too warm. You will never guess what I've done. Who bought a new blusher? Did you ever think you'd see the day I'd step away from my beloved Coppertone? I'm so proud of myself because I love the shit out of that blusher. But because I was doing a video for you guys, I picked up this blusher, and this is called Adored. It's a high pigment blusher, so straight away I'm like, okay, go light-handed, because if this happens with this, we're talking Krusty the Clown. So it looks like this. I've decided to go with quite a like rosy pink just because of the eyeshadows we're going to be using. Again, no scent, doesn't repulse me, and this was £1.50. It's quite big as well compared to my MAC. So my MAC is actually tiny in comparison. Like, look at the size difference, and this is obviously like what, £18, and this was £1.50. So I'm hopeful that I'm gonna like this. Okay, like I've tapped that and there is a shitload of product on my brush, so we're definitely scraping off some of that first and patting that onto my hand. They aren't lying when they say the shit is pigmented, like, bloody hell! I actually don't mind the colour of this. I think it's a really, really, really pretty pink. Okay, so as per usual, I'm going to be going in with my normal highlighter. I couldn't find any highlighters in Primark that were powder. There was a few liquids, but to be honest, I didn't trust them. I'm just going to be applying MAC's Oh Darling onto my cheekbones and everywhere you normally would. Whilst I was in Primark, I didn't actually see any eyebrow products. They had pencils, but I was trying them on the back of my hand and they were very, very dry. Like, I was swiping them and nothing was coming out. So for me, I was like, I'm not even going to attempt that because I'll probably pull out my eyebrow hairs attempting to try and get some colour. So I'm going to go off camera and apply my eyebrows, draw in my eyebrows using my usual L'Oreal brow pomade, and I will be right back. So next up I am going to be going in with the eyeshadow palette that I found in Primark. Now this is, I think it's a take on the Too Faced Peaches collection, because it was quite similar. Even on it says I'm so peachy, and then it just says just peachy eyeshadow palette. This was £6, sorry, it was £6. Now I want to open this palette, however the middle colour has smashed. I don't know when it smashed, but it's smashed, so I want to open it to show you guys, but I know it's going to go everywhere. So annoying because it's gorgeous as well. Okay, let me try and hold I've still got the plastic cover on, so I'm hoping that that will just hold it together. Basically the eyeshadow palette looks like this. Now we have two shimmers, so we have a golden one up here and a more of a bronzy one down in this corner here. We have a gorgeous like cranberry pinky colour, and then we have a really light pink, and then these other colours are actually matte, and unfortunately this pink one here is the one that's smashed, so as soon as I take this off it's going to be a no-go. Packaging is super cute, and I'm really hoping that the pigmentation is going to be as good as it looks. I don't really know what I'm going to be doing with it, so we're just going to play with the colours and see where we go from there. Okay, so I've done some swatches, and this is the top row. This is the golden shimmer. This is the gorgeous cranberry shimmer, which has some lighter pink reflex with some silver as well, and this is just a matte pink eyeshadow. So this is the gorgeous light pink. It's not picking up very well on that camera because the ring light is so bright again, but this is the shimmery light pink, and it definitely has like silver sparkles in it. This is the one that's smashed, so this is like a peachy pink sort of colour, and this is so fair, you can barely see it, but it would make a really good transition colour on fairer girls. Okay, so the last row did not disappoint at all. The pigmentation is insane. So I wouldn't say that the pigmentation is consistent throughout the palette, however these colours are bomb, and I think they're going to be the colours I'm using, to be honest. I was going to go for a more natural look, but after swatching them I think I'm going to be using these two particularly. So this is a gorgeous like chocolate brown. I'm in love with it. This gold is to die for. Like the pigmentation, and it's so smooth and it's just wiped onto the skin perfectly. Like I'm obsessed. And this is a corally pink. It's actually really nice. I can imagine that as just like a pop of colour, and it would look really cute. So you kind of know the colours I'm going to be using just because of the way I spoke about the swatches, but I am going to be using that brown, that chocolatey brown with the gold, just because the pigmentation is so good. Like I'm actually quite impressed with those eyeshadows. Some of them are hit or miss, and I know some of them aren't going to show up on my skin tone, but let's give it a go. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. Instead of doing like a smoky eye, I'm actually going to do a bit of a spotlight. So basically that means the shimmer is in the centre of the eye, and around the outsides it's just a little bit darker, making your eyes like stand out and pop in the middle. Okay, so the first thing I am going to do is go in with that, I'm so worried this is going to fall out, but with that transitions shade over here. It may not show up on my skin, but we shall see when we build up the intensity. So I'm just taking that on a big fluffy brush. I'm going to make sure that I keep this in a really rounded eye position. I'm going to tap off the excess just because I have done my foundation already. I'm building the intensity. It has shown up. So that's about 3 layers for the transition. Okay, so next I am going to be taking that chocolate brown here. The one, it's literally going to tip all over the carpet, and I'm just going to be like... But basically I'm going to be taking that chocolatey brown, and I'm going to be placing it on this outside corner here, buffing it slightly into the crease. I'm not taking it too high because we don't want to go past that transition shade, and then I'm going to be doing the inner corners. To start that, I'm going to be taking a flat brush like this. This is just one from the Naked 2 palette. I'm going to be taking that product on the brush. I am going to tap off any extra product just because I've done my foundation. And we're just going to push that product onto the outer corner of the eye. And then I'm going to place that on the inner corner. I'm not going to take it high at all, I'm just literally pushing it into the inner corner. Then I'm going to take the reverse of that brush, which is the fluffier end like this, and I'm just going to pop that into the eyeshadow as well, just a tiny bit onto the tip, and just making sure that I'm tapping off that product. Now as you can see, I'm just going to buff this very, very, very lightly into the crease to match this side over here. So basically you're just going to make sure that you're blending the two together. I'm actually really, really impressed, and this colour is really quite unique. I don't own anything like this. Okay, so now I have rounded out my eyes and we have created like the outside for the spotlight. I'm going to be going in with that gold down here. So this up here is more of a neutral gold, and this is definitely a warm gold, so it has got quite like an orangey undertone. I'm going to pop that right onto the centre of my lid, and I'm going to be using only my finger for this because I feel like the pigment is going to pick up better with my finger. And we're just going to pop that right where we haven't applied any eyeshadow. I'm in love with this eyeshadow, like it's actually gorgeous, like I am living for it. It looks stunning. Okay, out of this whole entire like Primark like makeup bits, this eyeshadow palette is doing things for me. Like I'm really, really, really impressed considering it's only £6. Yes, Primark! So for my underneath, normally I do what we do to the top to the bottom, but this time I'm only going to be running a little bit of that brown straight under the eye to kind of just make sure that I've rounded it off quite nicely. So normally I would go in with black eyeliner, however this time I'm going to be going in with a white eyeliner because I wanted this look to be a little bit more soft than my usual looks. And this is just a bold white eyeliner. It's waterproof from Barry M. I think it was only £2, and it's really, really good, really, really creamy, and doesn't like scratch your eyeball as you go past. It just applies it really nicely. So next I'm going to be applying eyelashes, and I even picked these ones up from Primark. They're the ones that I talked about in my last video. They are the So Sue eyelashes, and these ones are in London. They're a little bit more natural, they're not so thick. They're more sparse, but they're definitely wispy. They look like this if my camera light wants to focus. The band is still a bit thick, so I am going to have to add some black eyeliner, but a very, very thin band to the top of my eye. So whilst I'm waiting for those to apply, I am actually going to go in and apply my lipstick. Now, I'm not really a liquid lipstick kind of girl, however this caught my eye because I loved the colour. Now it is a very nudie peachy pink. I am obsessed. Now it says that it is a intense liquid lipstick, full colour satin finish infused with vitamin E, and it was only £2 and it's in the colour like that. I'm just going to swatch some onto the back of my hand. So basically it looks like this. I'm actually really in love with the colour. I think it's gorgeous, and as you can see it looks really, really moisturising, so I am excited to give it a go. I'm going to line my lip with MAC's lip liner. I will say MAC's, but you know what I mean, like MAC's, with MAC lip liner in Boldly Bare. And now we're going to give the intense liquid lipstick a go. Okay, first things first, it's very, very, very watery. Consistency isn't great, it's a little bit streaky. And this definitely is not the right colour for this makeup look, so I am going to have to apply something over the top to darken it. Ew. Because this colour is not for me, that doesn't go with this eye makeup look at all. I thought it was going to be a little bit more nude than pink. I'm going to go in with MAC Lip Glass in Spice just to see if I can darken it up a little. Okay, so it's looking a little bit more wearable. It's more peach than it is pink, which is better for my skin tone. But again, I probably would go a little bit darker, but for the moment this will do. I'm just going to pop my eyelashes on and then I'll be right back. I really love these. They aren't as heavy as I usually wear. They're really quite like light and wispy, quite girly. I love them. And I'm just going to go and pop some mascara onto my bottom lashes. Okay, so my overall look is complete. Now, I know I've been talking about my verdict all the way through it, but something is really irritating my eyes, and I think it's the foundation, because I said I can't do perfumed products on my face. This eye will not stop watering in this outer corner. It is bloodshot, they both are, and this inner corner is a little bit gammy as well. I think my initial first reaction was a little bit like dramatic. I don't think it's as bad as I initially made out it was. Maybe it doesn't work well on my skin tone, but I think a foundation for £2 and the coverage is this good, I think I'm going to take it back. And if I was to give it a rate out of 10, I would probably give it like a 5 or a 6. And the bronzer, I've actually grown to love the bronzer. At first it was like crazy, and now I've gotten used to it. I don't know whether that was because my face was so pale, and before I bronzed and everything, it was just really stark and it stood out, and I was like, oh my god. But I feel like it's all blended quite nicely now. I'm in love with the blush. The blush is 100% staying in my kit. I might even pick up quite a few others because they are really pigmented. There's no scent and they blend really well, so definitely worth your money. Eyeshadow palette I absolutely love. Like, there was a couple of colours in there that were hit or miss on my skin tone, just because I am a little bit darker and they won't really show up. The eyeshadows that I put on my eyes, I'm obsessed with. This gold is gorgeous. 100% I am going to be using this or taking this out and about with me. For £6, this is definitely worth it. I feel like I'm going to make a really unfair comment on the lip, but already I've got that line in my mouth here from where the lipstick kind of gets a bit gammy. I don't know whether that's because I've mixed two products, but as I was applying that liquid lipstick at the beginning, it was swatching everywhere, it was sliding around, and where you've got moisture on the inside of your mouth, it wasn't sticking at all, and that's why it's created like a really prominent line. For me, that's a big turn off. I hate that in a lipstick. I'm very conscious of it when somebody's talking to me and they've got like that gam central line. I'm just like, ew. And obviously the colour really wasn't for me. I thought it was going to work, definitely didn't. Massive balls up there. I really enjoyed actually doing the video. I loved going to the shop and thinking, right, what would my subscribers want and what would they like to see? And not only that, I saw the makeup collection myself and I was like, you know what, let's give this a go, because I got all of that for £18.50, whereas my one foundation is normally £15. So I was like, let's weigh it up and see if there's anything that I could replace in my kit with, like a more affordable option, or whether there was things that I just won't swap because I know the quality is so good. For example, my foundations, I'm very fussy, very fussy about how I like my coverage, how I like the consistency, how I like it to set. So I think for me, personally, I will always be a sort of like a higher end girl. However, I'm not going to say that entirely because I haven't tried all drugstore foundations. So yeah, I'm going to zip it on that one. But I have given my very honest review. It's as raw as it gets. I've not lied about anything. You've seen me going through the motions in the video. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because that would help me out so much. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that button down below. And again, let's get me to 500 subscribers because that would mean the world to me. And I hope you have a great week, guys. Bye!